And so her next point is, so the first point is that, the idea is that we need to identify the idol when we're doing this examination of worldviews. Secondly, the second principle she says is we need to identify the idol's reductionism. Now, this is kind of getting a little bit complicated, but I think we can handle this, right? Romans 1, she says, tells us that the idolatry leads to a debased worldview, which opens the door to oppression, injustice, and all the other, evils and behaviors that are listed, right? So again, your idea of debased is the cutting off of the edges, right? And so idols, when we look at the world and we have these various idols, they don't take into account all of the world. Some of it has to be cut off. Right? Materialism, naturalism cuts off non-physical the portion of the world. Right? And so it is reduced. All of the worldview reduces all of the world in materialism to just the physical aspects of the world. So that's what she means by reductionism. Right? So identify the idol's reductionism, she says. What is the connection between idols and immoral behavior? The link is that idols always lead to a lower view of human life. The Bible teaches that humans are made in the image of God. When a real worldview exchanges the creator for something in creation, it will also exchange a high view of humans made in God's image for a lower view of humans made in the image of something in creation. And so this reduction in terms of the worldview, right, also leads to, she suggests here, a lower view of humans, right, a lower view of human life, right? She says we could say that every concept of humanity is created in the image of some God or in the image of some idol, right? And so she says to translate Paul's arguments into modern language, we need to master this philosophical term, reductionism. And as we mentioned here, it means reducing a phenomena from a higher and more complex level of reality to a lower, simpler, less complex, right? So, for example, you have probably heard people say that Christianity is nothing but an emotional crutch, right? So the nothing but there is the idea. Or the idea that nothing but, the ideas are nothing but produces chemical reactions in the brain, right? That's all that our ideas are. They're nothing but chemical reactions.
So again, here we're just identifying what the claim is. We're not making claims based on, or inferences based on those claims.
Or living things can be explained solely by physics and chemistry, right? So all of these are forms of reductionism, where we take the thing and reduce it to something else. And so she says, to say that idols always leads to reductionism then is another way of saying that they lead to a lower view of human life. You might picture reductionism as someone trying to stuff the entire universe into a box, right? And when some part of creation is absolutized, then everything else is redefined in terms of it. So humans are recast in the particular image that the idol or the worldview suggests that we should be, right? So materialism, the idol is matter. Everything else is reduced to material objects, and it's produced by material forces. Anything that does not fit into the materialist box is dismissed as an illusion, right? And so spirit, soul, will, mind, consciousness, all those are illusions because they're not physical, right? And so you have to cut those things because they stick out of the box.
Which is the science part of How to Be an Atheist by Mitch Sticks.
So she says, by contrast, the biblical worldview begins with a transcendent God, so it is not reductionistic. It does not try to stuff everything into a box defined by one part of creation. Instead, Christianity offers a high view of the human person, created in the image of a transcendent person. It affirms all the features that make us fully human, right? So we create these idols. So the first thing we need to do then in examining the worldview is to determine what the idol is, identify the idol, and then identify then what the reductionism, how people try to reduce everything based on that particular idol.
Right.